He was strong.
He was always
when we
strong.
fought, he was strong. Like, he was strong. Leverage. Great with his leverage. Dude, the way he was able to manipulate positions, people would stop saying that. He is not afraid of that guy. He's not afraid of anyone. He's not afraid to fight this guy. He's not.
Daniel Cormier has recently shared a word of caution for Tom Aspinall regarding a potential matchup with Jon Jones, referencing his own tough experience in the octagon with Jones. Cormier finds the whole situation between Aspinall and Jones somewhat puzzling. He explained that if he had the opportunity to fight Jones again, he'd expect to be well compensated, emphasizing that a big payday would be essential. According to Cormier, Jon Jones doesn't appear to be intimidated by Aspinall, viewing him as just another challenge he's confident he can overcome. Still, Cormier admits that Jones is fully aware of the dangers Aspinall brings to the table. Interestingly, Cormier also noted that when the betting lines were first released, Jones was actually listed as the underdog, a rare occurrence in his career.
This whole Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones thing, for lack of a better word, is just weird. For me, it's just weird. Like, I don't get it. If I give him the opportunity to fight me, I want to be compensated. I want to say it. I want that you money. Jon Jones shooting you straight. Because at the end of the day, guys, I will tell you, he's not afraid. Tom Aspinall to Jon Jones is just another guy that he would fight and that he believes he can beat. But what he does want is to get paid. And I think he recognizes the dangers in the fight. I mean, when this line opened, Jon Jones was an underdog. Jon Jones was the underdog. I don't even know if there's ever been a time in his career where someone has been favored to beat Jon Jones. And I think that concerns.
Cormier also pointed out that Jon Jones has been signaling to fans that the end of his career may be near, hinting that this might be one of his final major bouts. He doesn't believe Jones would continue fighting purely for a paycheck, especially if his performance begins to decline. When it comes to the timing of the potential fight, Cormier suspects the UFC likely has a plan in motion or is close to finalizing one. He also urged that Jones should return to the octagon sooner rather than later, noting that with each passing month, Jones ages while Tom Aspinall continues to improve and gain momentum.
If I was Jon Jones, I would do this earlier than later, because every month that passes, he just gets older, and Tom Aspinall gets better. So I would try to do this as soon as possible. I wouldn't want to wait till New York next year, where he's almost 38, 39 years old, with that kid just continue.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen expressed with confidence that the matchup between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall is already set, down to the exact date. He claims to be absolutely sure about it. Sonnen explained that although Jones might publicly say he needs 4 months to prepare or give varying statements to the media, his actions tell a different story. According to Sonnen, once Jones receives the official call and knows who he's facing, he commits. That's just how he operates. No matter what he says in interviews, when the time comes, Jones steps into the cage.
I am confident enough to tell you that that fight is done, though. That fight is agreed all the way down to the date. That I do have a confidence to tell you.
Jones said he needs 4 months. Now you're going to do it
I'm telling you, this Jon Jones business, Jones will say a lot of things to the media. When he gets that phone call, here's the guy you're fighting. Do you understand? Yes. And that is what he will.
Daniel Cormier firmly rejected the notion that Jones fears Tom Aspinall, or any fighter for that matter. According to Cormier, Jones isn't dodging tough matchups, but is instead making calculated decisions to preserve his legacy. Cormier pointed out that while many fighters eventually hand the torch to the next generation, Jones may opt for a different path. Still, he added that even if Jones were to take the risk of fighting Aspinall, it likely wouldn't tarnish his legacy, considering everything he's already accomplished in his career.
Jon Jones isn't afraid of Tom Aspinall. I wish people would stop saying that. He is not afraid of that guy. He's not afraid of anyone. He's not afraid to fight this guy. He's not. I think he's trying to be more strategic. I think he's trying to make sure his legacy stands. I don't know how it could ever be faded. I mean, we do have short memories, but could you ever forget what he did? I don't think him fighting Tom Aspinall with the potential that he would lose is a bad thing. But as most would expect him to win the fight. But at the end of the day, The old guard has to get passed through for the new guard to go, unless you don't play the sport by the way that everyone else does it. Everyone else does it that way. Maybe Jones will be different.
Cormier went on to explain that he has no interest in letting someone build their reputation by beating him, using Jon Jones as a prime example. He reflected on how Jones made his name by taking out established legends like Shogun Rua and Rampage Jackson, becoming a household name in just a few short years. Cormier likened this to Michael Jordan's rise in the NBA, noting how Jordan had to get past powerhouse teams like the Pistons and Celtics before reaching legendary status. He emphasized that this cycle is just how sports work. The up-and-coming stars have to prove themselves by going through the icons who came before them.
I'm not here to run the risk of someone making a name off of me. Shogun had to fight Jon Jones back in the day. Rampage had to fight Jon Jones back in the day. Those guys were big names that fought him as the young guy that was the champion. And he made a name off of all those legends. So that by the time I got to him, he was a legend. He was a legend. Already in 2016, 15, he was already a legend in 5 years. But that was only because he had beaten all those great guys before. It really is the tale of sport, right? The tale of entertainment. Before Michael Jordan could become Michael Jordan, he had to go through the Detroit Pistons, who were winning in the 80s. He had to beat the Boston Celtics to get to the finals, who were going back and forth with the Lakers. The old guard had.
Reflecting on his own battles with Jon Jones, Cormier mentioned that he was already in his mid to late 30s, specifically 36 and 38, when the two faced off. Now, with Jones himself approaching that same age range, Cormier sees a new kind of challenge emerging in the form of Tom Aspinall. Cormier cautioned that Aspinall could be one of the most dangerous fighters Jones has ever gone up against, not just because of his abilities, but also because heavyweight isn't Jones's natural division. He added that if Jones takes the fight weighing around 245 pounds, the test will be even more demanding, highlighting the steep challenge that lies ahead.
You know that the first time I fought Jon Jones, I was 36 years old. I was 36 years old the first time I fought Jon Jones. 36 and 38 the second time. He's now what, 37, 38 years old? I think that this kid is as dangerous for him as anyone he's ever been in there with, partly because that's not his weight class. He would fight Tom Aspinall better than him weighing 200.
Frank Mir shared a similar perspective, praising Tom Aspinall as a top-tier heavyweight with tremendous potential. Still, he came to Jon Jones's defense regarding criticism that Jones is avoiding the fight. Mir argued that after spending years competing against the elite, Jones has more than earned the right to be selective about his opponents. He reminded fans of just how dominant Jones has been throughout his career, something that often gets overlooked. While Mir acknowledged that Aspinall's speed and striking ability make him a legitimate threat, he believes that if Jones can close the gap and turn it into a physical battle, he'd still bet on Jones to come out victorious.
I think Aspinall's a phenomenal heavyweight. I think he's going to be there for a while. With Jon, it's hard for me to tell people, the guy has earned so much. I feel like sometimes people have such a short memory in our sport. The guy has been one of the most dominant fighters of all time. If he wants to pick and choose who he fights, at a certain point, he kind of earned the right to, but, he faces criticism, I guess, from other people. But as far as what settles in my stomach, well, I get it. Because look how people are short memory with him right now. Oh, he's not the GOAT, and he's dodging Tom. Like, man, this guy fought everybody. I don't count him out in a fight with Aspinall. I've trained with Jon. I know how he feels when he grabs a hold of you. I think Tom's hands could really be the X factor if we can catch him or not. Tom's striking is more powerful than a lot of the people, and speed-wise in Jon's face. If Jon grabs him, though, I'm betting
on knee. The flip side, Colby Covington didn't mince words when criticizing Jon Jones. He accused Jones of sidestepping real threats like Tom Aspinall, claiming that Jones is deliberately selecting opponents where he holds a clear advantage, rather than facing the most dangerous contenders available. Covington pointed out that Jones had allegedly avoided a showdown with Francis Ngannou for years, and is now repeating that pattern with Aspinall. Instead of taking on a younger, more dangerous fighter, Covington argued, Jones chose to fight Stipe Miocic, someone he described as past his prime. He went as far as to label Jones a coward and a cheat, slamming what he sees as a consistent effort to avoid the most challenging matchups.
Dude, Jon Jones is an absolute disgrace to this earth. He's a joke. I mean, yeah, you beat Stipe. Respect to Stipe first off, because he's a first responder, and you know, he puts his life on the line for the people and for his community. So shout out to Stipe. He's, you know, the greatest heavyweight of all time, but he was past his time. He shouldn't even have been there, man. He knows he was old and he was just showing up for a paycheck. You know, that's not the Stipe of old, you know, that was in his prime anymore. So, you know, I don't think anything special that performance. I think Jon needs to stop ducking Tom Aspinall, just like he ducked Nagano. You know, he ducked Nagano for years. Now he's ducking Aspinall. So he doesn't want to fight the guys he knows he's getting his ass whooped against. So I don't think anything special to Jon.
Daniel Cormier also weighed in on how Jon Jones might improve his chances against Tom Aspinall, suggesting that a lighter fighting weight could be key. He recommended that Jones drop down to around 215 pounds, rather than competing at his current weight of 245. Cormier argued that Jones was at his physical best when fighting at 205 pounds, where his agility and quickness stood out. He believes the added mass has had a negative impact on Jones's speed and movement. As an example, he referenced Jones's bout against Cyril Gane, noting that the extra weight seemed to diminish his trademark sharpness and fast reflexes in the cage.
He's weighing 215. He would fight Tom Aspinall better than him weighing 245 pounds. In his 205 frame, he could fight Tom Aspinall better than he'd fight him at that 250 because that's not his weight class. While he didn't last long with Cyril, he didn't look as fast. He carried more weight. Cyril just did some weird stuff. And Jon, you don't make mistakes.
Additionally, Eddie Hall voiced strong confidence that Tom Aspinall would come out on top if he ever faced Jon Jones. While Hall acknowledged Jones's legendary status in the sport, he believes that Aspinall's skill, speed, and overall potential would give him the edge in such a matchup.
So if you don't know MMA world, sorry to bore you, but Tom Aspinall is UFC's #1 right now. Jon Jones is, you know, he's seen as the best MMA fighter on the planet. Dana White's got a massive for him, says he's unbeatable. Honestly, I think if you put Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall in a room and said one man leaves, I think Tom Aspinall leaves that room. I genuinely do. I think Jon Jones, I mean, I can't badmouth the guy. He's got an amazing record, but he's definitely ducking Tom Aspinall, 100%. And I think he's even said he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall after his next fight. He's pretty much going to retire after this fight, so he's ducking Tom Aspinall.
He also took a jab at Jones for apparently dodging the fight, suggesting that this hesitation reveals a sense of fear. Hall emphasized that what fighters do in the cage speaks louder than words, and remained firm in his belief that Aspinall would come out victorious if the two ever faced off inside the octagon.
I mean, he can say what he wants, but actions speak louder than words. So, there we go. Anyway, the answer to that question is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is kicking Jon Jones.
Tom Aspinall expressed his belief that Jon Jones is intentionally avoiding a fight with him. While he acknowledged that Jones may be opting for easier, more lucrative, and less risky opponents, Aspinall remains convinced that Jones is actively dodging the matchup. Despite understanding why Jones might make those choices, Aspinall stands firm in his view.
You think Jon is ducking you?
Yes.
Was that Tom?
I think, I said, yeah, he is. He definitely is. I think that there's just an easier path for him, and I understand it. I do understand it completely. I understand that there's bigger fights out there for him with way less risk and way more money. I understand it, but in all honesty, do I think he's ducking me? Absolutely.
Additionally, Israel Adesanya pointed out that Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall are quite close in physical stature, with Aspinall being slightly taller and heavier. He praised Aspinall's notable speed, but highlighted that Jones's superior skills on the ground would probably give him a significant edge. Adesanya concluded that only a direct fight between the two would truly determine who is the better fighter.
But he's the same height as me, if not an inch taller, but thick. Yeah. And I was like, you're a lot thicker than I would expect. And the speed, that's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's the danger. But again, grappling, he's a black belt, but Jon is... It's different. Yeah. But I don't know, man. They gotta fight. But if they don't ever fight, we'll never know.
Curtis Blades gave Tom Aspinall a slight edge, estimating about a 55% chance over Jon Jones. However, he acknowledged that defeating Jones would still be an incredibly difficult challenge. Blades highlighted Jones's well-rounded skill set and extensive championship experience, stressing that these factors make Jones a formidable opponent and ensure any fight against him is a major test for Aspinall.
I think Aspinall beats him.
Yeah, I would pick him. Like, I would go 55% him. Obviously, it's not gonna be a landslide. Like, we're going against Jon Jones. He's a legend. You got all the weapons.
Aljamain Sterling called the potential matchup between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall intriguing, but cautioned that it's hard to bet against Jones. He highlighted Jones's mental toughness and strategic fighting style as major advantages while still acknowledging Aspinall's impressive athleticism. Sterling warned that if Jones manages to secure a takedown, the fight could quickly swing in his favor.
It's a very intriguing fight. If I had to put money on it, it'd be super hard for me to bet against a guy like Jones, just because I know the mindset that he comes in with. Not saying Aspinall couldn't get it done because of all those physical gifts that he has. But dog, betting against a guy like that, if he gets you on the ground, that's just a bad night.
Demetrius Johnson acknowledged Tom Aspinall's talent, but expressed confidence that Jon Jones would likely handle him with relative ease. He showed more interest in seeing Jones fight Aspinall rather than Pereira, anticipating a dominant showing from Jones. Johnson also mentioned that Aspinall's rumored $30 million payday demand might make negotiating the fight more complicated.
Jon Jones will smoke Tom Aspinall.
I don't know, man.
He'll smoke Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall is athletic. I think Tom Aspinall will try to take the fight to Jon Jones. And it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'd rather see that fight over Alex Pereira.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I agree. I would like to see that fight over Alex, but come on, man. Aspinall is a great fighter. Yep. He's a good champion. So I said, Jon Jones will smoke Aspinall. Yeah. Smoke him.
I can't wait to see. I hope it happens. That's the fight that needs to happen. I think Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones needs to happen.
Why do you think there's so much friction there? Why do you think it's not happening? Why? Because we see so much.
I think Jon Jones said he wants to.
Patty Pimble described a potential Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight as a must-watch matchup. While he expressed support for Aspinall and hoped for his win, Pimble also recognized Jones's exceptional fight IQ and tactical mastery. He admitted that, given Jones's extensive experience and strategic skills, it's tough to bet against him.
Do you think the Aspinall-Jones fight happens?
It's got to happen. I was sitting next to Tom the other week at the UFC in London and talking to him about it.
How do you think that plays out if they fight?
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. The one thing I do think Jon Jones has got the best in the world and the best ever is his fight IQ. He has a perfect game plan to beat that person. As much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against Jon Jones. It's just something I couldn't do.
Darius Duplexis praised Tom Aspinall for his dedication and strong work ethic, highlighting his potential to become a leading figure in the next generation of fighters. At the same time, Duplexis noted that Jon Jones might be approaching the final stages of his legendary career, hoping he can retire on a high note to protect his legacy. Despite Jones's age, Duplexis acknowledged that he still has the skills to overcome even the toughest opponents, cementing his place among the greatest fighters of all time.
Aspinall is young, he's hungry. You have Jones, who is definitely at the end of his career, 38 years old. I don't need to see this because he's never been beaten. I want Jon Jones to retire unbeaten, and I want him to retire, and Aspinall goes on to be the next big thing. But Jon Jones being the warrior that he says, pay me enough and I'm doing it. Aspinall wants it, and one of them has to lose that fight. And that's the one thing, you look at it and go, Aspinall's probably going to win. But then, if you ask me that, I say, no. We've said that so many times with Jon Jones, and it makes it look easy. He is the greatest of all time.
Stipe Miocic advised Tom Aspinall not to let Jon Jones dictate the pace of the fight, stressing that this advice applies to any opponent, not just Jones. Miocic highlighted that allowing an opponent to control the action is essentially handing them the fight, calling it one of the biggest mistakes a fighter can make.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think also, too, is that you just don't let them dictate what you want. It's like any fighter, not just Jon Jones, any fight, don't let them dictate what they want to do. Because if you let them do what they want, that's the end of the road for you.
Miocic also praised Jon Jones as one of the all-time greats, emphasizing his strategic mindset and unpredictable style inside the cage. He warned Aspinall to avoid costly errors, like the liver shot that caused him trouble in a fight. Miocic complimented Aspinall's strength, agility, and composure, saying that if Aspinall stays calm under pressure, he stands a good chance against Jones.
Well, Francis, yeah, he's got great power. He's getting better every fight. With Jones, he's as good as one of the best of all time, if not the best of all time. He's just smart, real tricky, and
get booked with him and Jon Jones. What's the best advice you'd give Tom Aspinall?
Don't do what I did.
Avoid the liver shot.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? But I think Tommy, that guy, he's super tough, and he hits hard. He moves well. He's a big man. I think that he stays calm under the situation, and whatever happens, he just stays calm. I think he'll be fine. He pitches shots. He's smart what he does, and I think
Jamahal Hill recognized Jon Jones' history of competing against elite fighters and believes a matchup with Tom Aspinall would be among Jones' toughest tests yet. While excited about the potential fight, Hill emphasized that the result will largely depend on whether Jones is truly looking for one last significant challenge before wrapping up his career.
Jon Jones has taught us anything, you can never count him out. You never count him out no matter what the challenge is, no matter what. He's always risen to the occasion and risen to that challenge and perform exponentially. So I think that it'll be a good fight. I believe it'll be a good fight. I believe it'll probably be one of the harder fights and harder challenges that Jon has had in his career. So, it's all about he wants to challenge himself like that.
Rampage Jackson referred to Jon Jones as the greatest fighter in MMA history, acknowledging his dominance in the sport. After watching Tom Aspinall's performances, Jackson recognized him as a serious contender. However, he stressed that imagining anyone beating Jones is difficult, and that only a real fight inside the octagon can truly decide who the best fighter is.
Jones versus Tom Aspinall. No, Jon Jones is the GOAT in my book. He's one of the best. And I recently saw Aspinall fight for the first time recently, and he's a great fighter, and he's a great champion. But I think it'll be tough for me to ever say that anybody will beat Jon Jones until that.
Tom Aspinall's father expressed that if Jon Jones isn't willing to fight for the title, he should just give it up. He stressed that Tom doesn't feel intimidated by Jones, seeing him as just another training partner, someone not worth getting worked up about.
If the guy doesn't want to fight for the belt, vacate it, and he's not bothered about Jon Jones. Tom's not bothered if he fights. Jon Jones is just another body in the gym, Another bum in the shower, they said, aren't they? It just is. He just wants to compete. He's a competitor.
What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like and subscribe.